Through Weight Loss by Hers, you can give yourself something to be excited about in 2025. You can spend the new year in control of your weight by losing up to an average of 9 pounds in your first month. This is based on data that real Hers customers have reported based on their personalized compounded GLP-1 treatment plans. Hers is transforming women's healthcare by providing access to affordable weight loss treatment plans, delivered straight to your door if prescribed. Hers offers a holistic weight loss program with personalized solutions, including compounded GLP-1 weekly injections, featuring the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy or oral medication kits. So if you've been struggling with your weight loss journey, it's time for you to find the best option that works for you through Hers. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/KKC. That's FORHERS.com/KKC for your personalized weight loss treatment options. forhers.com/KKC. Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased. Okay, you want to look luxurious but not spend a lot of money? I got you covered. With Quince, you're going to treat yourself to everyday luxury at an affordable price. Something everyone needs in their closet, in my opinion. Quince's iconic Mongolian cashmere sweaters, guess what? They start at $50. Or if you really want to up your luxe factor, check out their Italian leather bags, washable silk skirts, and European linen sheet sets. Whatever you're looking for, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. It's because they partner directly with top factories and cut the costs of the middleman, passing the savings on to you. And also they work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. And of course, they use premium fabrics and finishes for that luxury feel. You guys need to go get yourself the bodysuits. That's my new obsession. Look great with jeans or a skirt. Treat yourself this winter without the luxury price tag. Go to quince.com/KKC for 365-day returns, plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/KKC to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/KKC.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Today's episode is about Investigation Discovery's new docuseries, The Fall of Diddy, which is now available to stream on Max and Discovery Plus. The series includes interviews with Sean Combs' inner circle and survivors discussing their own personal experiences and a multitude of allegations of assault, abuse, and violence at the hands of the disgraced mogul. Now, as you know, I've done several episodes about Sean Combs' legal case. The claims about his violent behavior and illegal activity are wide-ranging and devastating. And I wanted to forewarn you if you are sensitive to discussion of assault and sexual assault. Sean Combs has been known professionally as Puff, Puff Daddy, and later Diddy. He is a music producer, rapper, and entrepreneur facing federal charges for sex crimes and several related lawsuits. He launched his music production company, Bad Boy Entertainment, in 1993, and that was after working for Uptown Records. He has worked with many artists, including Mariah Carey, Mary J. Blige, and Biggie Smalls. After Biggie was murdered in 1997, he recorded the tribute I'll Be Missing You, which topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 11 weeks, and launched his first album, No Way Out, to platinum status before it captured a Grammy Award. And beyond music, he started the Sean John apparel line, has had a host of acting credits, worked in reality television, and had an alcohol brand. His reputation has since cratered since November of 2023, when he became embroiled in several lawsuits for physical and sexual abuse. In November of 2023, Cassandra Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit against her ex-partner, Sean Diddy Combs, and accused him of sexual assault and physical abuse. The singer alleged that during her relationship, she was stuck in a decades-long cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking, including a 2018 rape after she tried to leave him. He was arrested in September of 2024 in a New York hotel on charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, and transportation for purposes of prostitution. Federal prosecutors have accused him of creating a criminal enterprise in which he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, to protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. They have said that he used drugs, violence, and the power of his status to lure female victims into extended sex acts called freak-offs. They also revealed that he uncovered firearms, ammunition, and more than 1,000 bottles of lubricant during raids on his homes in Miami and Los Angeles in March of 2024. Now, he has pled not guilty to a grand jury indictment, and he was denied bail by 2 separate judges. He's set to remain behind bars until his May 5th, 2025 trial. He could face life in prison if found guilty of the racketeering charge. There are now in upwards of 120 lawsuits against Sean Combs, and each victim's story the more devastating. As mentioned, this series includes interviews with many people that knew him quite well. They include former Vibe executive editor Danielle Smith, that she talks about being threatened. Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a former producer for Bad Boy Records, who says, "There's a lot of people like Puffy in this music business. Exposing Puffy means exposing them all." Thalia Graves, who says that he spiked her drink and raped her in the summer of 2001 inside of his record studio and then threatened her into silence. She said, "I was terrified and I didn't want to die." Now, rather than go to the hospital for medical treatment or report this incident, she decided to remain silent because of a call that he made to her. He said, "Keep your effing mouth shut." And then he hung up the phone. There is also testimony about Cassie Ventura early into her relationship with him being forced into those freak-off parties where drugs were taken, sexual assaults, and trafficking had been alleged to take place. Roger Bonds, who was his former bodyguard from 2003 to 2012, said, "I've seen questionable things, but I never knew exactly what was going on. It's been times where Cassie and Diddy would just go to the hotel for a weekend, and I would just see guys get off the elevator." Kat Passion, an actress and model, also corroborates the abuse and the assaults that she allegedly endured, Cassie, that is, and chronicled in her civil suit. His former chef details workplace harassment and abuse. "We are taught no snitching. We're taught to suppress violence and abuse, and so that gives abusers space to thrive." The most harrowing, Natanya Griffin, who was a victim of the 1999 New York City nightclub shooting. She says, "I have 9 bullet fragments that remain in my face and my head. He took my peace of mind. He took my sense of safety." This is a harrowing docuseries. It is a multi-part docuseries from Emmy-nominated Maxine Productions. Now, they also did Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV. It features original reporting in partnership with Emmy Award-winning Rolling Stone Films. The Fall of Diddy features exclusive, never-before-heard accounts and never-before-seen archival footage, offering personal insights into harrowing allegations of violent behavior and illegal activity that have shadowed this music mogul. It spans his decades-long impact on music and pop culture, from his early days as a talented creative to his 2024 arrest, and uncovers the insidious and terrifying allegations of sexual assault, abusive behavior, violence, and other disturbing claims that lay beneath his success. The Fall of Diddy is the series. My guests today are Emma Schwartz and Yoruba Richen, the co-directors, and the producer, Mary Robertson. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show, really.
Thank you, Kate. Thanks for having us.
My favorite thing about Maxine Productions is it's female-led. And over many years interviewing so many people that work behind the scenes, I really do feel like when it comes to sports docuseries and true crime docuseries, when it's led by a team of women, there is just a total different feel to it. And I find that the subjects are far more willing to open up. And for a subject as dark as the Sean Combs lawsuits, it was so needed for so many of the victims to have the space to be able to tell their stories. And I think you did it so well because you were a team of women.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Kate. I'm incredibly proud to work with so many incredible women, and to, I hope that we're able to cultivate an environment in which my colleagues feel heard and as though they have a tremendous amount of agency in the process. And we hope that those qualities extend to those who participate in our films, that those who participate in the films also feel heard, and as though they've been invited into a process that gives them rather than deprives them of agency. This project, the the Fall of Diddy, which is now will be on ID and Max on the 27th and 28th, originated when we were still working on Quiet on Set.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. And Em and I, of course, co-directed Quiet on Set together, and a couple of sources who are involved in the Diddy project came to us, and they had stories that felt quite important to us, and certainly that spoke to the ways in which power had functioned within this pocket and sector of the music industry over the course of decades. So we thought it was a meaningful exploration, and we went to our incredible partners at ID, and they were immediately enthusiastic about the inquiry and the investigation, and supported us very early on, which we're so grateful for. It's so great. We're very lucky to have these partners in ID who invest in these projects and invest, their confidence in us at relatively early stages. And it really, I think, enables us to build deep relationships across the board with our contributors and to really do deep journalism. So after we had the commitment from ID, I approached Yoruba Richen, who's a brilliant director, and Yoruba and I had worked together previously on a project for the New York Times about Breonna Taylor. And ever since then, I've called Yoruba every 6 months or so and said, will you please do this project with me? Will you please do this project with me? And this is the first time when I called, and Yoruba said, yes, let's do this.
Well, talk to me about that reaction, Yoruba, to like, I want to tackle this. What was it about this project that you felt like I need to be included?
Yeah, absolutely. I felt that this was, well, first off, it was an opportunity to work with Maxine, to work again with Mary. And I knew that the journalism, the care, the empathy was going to be, bar none. And I hadn't worked with Emma before, but Mary told me about, Emma's work, and I just was excited to be a part of this team. And in terms of the topic of Diddy, I felt like this was going to be a very hard story to tell because of Diddy's influence and reach in the culture, in hip hop culture, in culture at large. This is a man whose influence spans decades. And, one of the few Black billionaires who really shaped a lot of people's, childhood, growing up, music. But that there were these allegations, there were these survivors and victims who had been afraid to speak out because of his power, because of who he was, and also because of, it's painful for us in the African American community, especially when we have so few examples of moguls, of billionaires, that we don't want to, it'd be hard for us to reveal abuse. And it is necessary because these stories are harrowing, and what we found out and these allegations are harrowing. And I wanted to be a part of figuring out how we can tell the story while also telling the story of who Combs was and is.
This episode is sponsored by Acorns. Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing so your money has the chance to grow for you, your kids, and your retirement. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can start with $5 or even just your spare change, and you don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. Head to acorns.com/KKC or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC and SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/KKC. Post-holiday, sugar crash is real, and parents, let's be honest, finding snacks that satisfy your kids and don't leave them bouncing off the walls isn't exactly easy. That's why I use Thrive Market. They make it simple to find healthier, kid-approved swaps for all of those sugary, junk-filled favorites. And the best part, they've got a healthy swap scanner in the Thrive Market app. It's a total game changer. You scan a product that your kids love, like their favorite chips or crackers, and the app shows a cleaner, healthier alternative. So my kids love Takis. I got them late July Hawaiian habanero chips. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding safe, healthy food. All of their products are 100% non-GMO and free from over 1,000 harmful ingredients. Plus, their on-site filters make it easy to shop by your family's dietary needs. For example, I eat gluten-free. The best part, everything gets delivered straight to your door, so you don't have to take that stress of searching grocery aisles or reading tiny ingredient lists. Ready for a junk-free start to 2025? Head to thrivemarket.com/Kate Casey and get 30% off your first order, plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/Kate Casey. thrivemarket.com/Kate Casey. How do you start working on the interviews? How do you convince so many people to come forward when, number one, it's incredibly painful. There's it can be re-traumatizing, to speak again about something that has been such a horrific moment of your life. And listen, there are a lot of people that want to make documentaries about this subject. So how difficult was it to get so many of the victims to come forward? Because you have a number of them in this project.
I think with any project, coming forward, telling your story on camera is always a brave and difficult thing, no matter the subject, no matter where you're coming from. This one was especially difficult, and it was an unfolding story. There were things we were learning in the public throughout, the months that the year plus that we were working on this project. But I think some of it was Cassie coming forward with her lawsuit gave a lot of people, not a lot, maybe that's an overstatement, but it gave people who had not had the confidence to speak out, confidence that there could be some safety in numbers. And I think what happened over time is that different moments would, in some ways trigger, in some ways catalyze certain people to speak out. The raid, the video, the arrest, all of these moments, if you've been in his orbit, you're reliving your experience at that time. And some people are motivated by that moment to say, now I need to share that story. Now I need to speak out. And because we had been talking with people in this world for so many months, people would come to us, people would be referred to us, or we were aware of people and they would get to a point where they might be ready. But, there's no sort of magic trick for what makes somebody comfortable. It's a process. It's different for everyone. It takes trust. But I do think that the experience that we all had as a team, the work that we've done, whether it's the Rosa Parks documentary that you directed, Quiet on Set, I think that gave people confidence that this is a team of people who are going to listen, who are going to take things seriously and carefully.
Were there a number of potential guests that were still concerned about retaliation, were still afraid to talk?
Yes. I mean, there was fear. There was fear. I mean, I think the fact that he's sitting behind bars has lessened the fear, but, we have people who say that on camera, that there's fear because of his power, because of his history of violence.
There's still fear. It's not the fear has passed just because you spoke out, right? That is an ongoing fear for many people who even did decide to speak out.
In the beginning, you talk with a former editor of Vibe magazine. Can you lay the groundwork for us about the stranglehold that he had on the music industry in his specific space, which disallowed people from feeling like they had enough power to speak up?
Yeah, I think that, Danielle, the former editor-in-chief of Vibe, really talks so eloquently about what Combs meant to her as a hip hop lover, as someone who grew up with the music, and also a journalist, a music journalist. I think it's important to remember that Combs created Bad Boy, he was with Uptown and then Bad Boy. This was about 5 years before or after MTV started playing Black music. Like literally, it was their policy not to play Black music. And hip hop was the beginning of pushing, into the mainstream and that time during the late 80s and early 90s. And he was at the forefront of it as a producer and as an artist, and creating a place where people came to, Bad Boy, and saw the culture, their culture, as, and, in a way that hadn't been seen before, and being able to make music and have a studio, entertainment arm. It was huge. It was huge. And it went on and then he, went into these other endeavors in clothing, where he was, a very successful designer, accolades from the fashion industry, and then into restaurants, and then into sponsorships of alcohol. And that's where he became the billionaire. So it's you cannot tell the story of Combs without talking about, I feel like sometimes we don't remember that in this culture, things go so quickly, but remembering what he did musically and how he reshaped the music industry.
Well, also, I think he was like ahead of his time in terms of centering himself with all the projects that he worked on. I mean, like a true narcissist, like he inserted himself. So even if it's one of his proteges, he's on stage performing with them. And then he's
all the videos.
And then he's working his way into culture, where he's everywhere from the White House to award ceremonies to, big moments in business. So he was very clever about inserting himself into all areas of pop culture and not just one.
Absolutely. Yeah, and he was ahead of his time around that.
So as we move into the docuseries, there are several former employees. You've got a chef, you have bodyguards, you have producers that come forward and they speak about their experiences working with him. And you get a better sense of how terrifying it would be to be an employee, but also to leave. And I think a lot of people look at this story and they think about how impossible it would seem to an outsider to be part of a world where victims are everywhere. Like, why are people so complicit in the system? How would you best describe the fear that exists for someone who begins even the first week of work and all of a sudden they see things and they're too afraid to speak up?
One of the things is the power that he commanded over people by his presence, is his charisma. And you're captivated because this is a job that some people wanted to, right? Like if you look at Roger, he, it was challenging for him to get other jobs because of his background. And here he gets a steady paycheck with a high profile individual, gets to fly around the world. He's got a family. Like that is a huge opportunity. And there's a lot of trade-offs for giving that up. You even look at the chef, Jordan, she describes the time in which in the series in which she describes how, Combs came down and yelled at her and eventually pushed her physically out the door onto the ground. She didn't leave for good in that moment, right? It was hard to fully get away, but it was also hard to come forward without feeling like you would be blackballed in the industry.
Mm-hmm. There was one victim. Thalia talks about the experience of her assault and how she is in front of, I believe, a hospital and had the opportunity to go and report the assault and the fear that came with it. And then how she went into hiding. She didn't come forward because she was so terrorized by not just the act, but it seems like he had a propensity to terrorize victims well after the assault. Were there other victims that had something similar happen to them? In other words, the fear that not only exists within the assault, but afterwards?
I mean, if you look at the federal indictment and the prosecutors, what they've alleged in court, they argue that Combs has intimidated witnesses up into the present about what he is alleged to have done. According to their filings, he called one witness 58 times in a few days after some information about her became public. And so, there are allegations going back many decades of people saying that they have been intimidated and silenced by him. And that is the pattern that the prosecutors have argued before the court to keep him behind bars before the trial.
My new goal this year is hydration. My days get so busy, it's actually the one thing that I always forget to do. And I love Liquid IV. It is powered by hydroscience, and it helps you break the mold. They've got great flavors, like my personal favorite, the pina colada. Think about how much you are working out. Are you refueling? How much did you actually drink to rehydrate? Liquid IV is leading the way in flavor innovation. They've got a ton of great flavors, including the sugar-free flavors like raspberry lemonade, white peach, and rainbow sherbet. You can break the mold and own your own ritual. Just one stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, and always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Embrace your ritual with extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code KateCasey at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today by using promo code KateCasey at liquidiv.com.
Turn protecting the planet into your career. Georgetown's 10-month interdisciplinary Master of Science in Environment and Sustainability Management program blends cutting-edge scientific knowledge with essential business principles, equipping you to address the world's most pressing environmental challenges. Learn to tackle today's most urgent environmental problems with a strategic, dual skill set that combines environmental science and business expertise. Ready to make a real impact? Georgetown's Master of Science in Environment and Sustainability Management empowers you to transform your passion for the environment into a meaningful, purpose-driven career. Explore the program at msb.georgetown.edu/ESM-podcast.
And even the story about the nightclub shooting. Terrifying to see how many of the victims were so young, so impressionable, and how he almost became more and more successful with time, and all of their lives were forever changed because of it. When you went back in time and looked at the nightclub incident, and then to see how he used it as an opportunity to sort of cement this image of almost like a godfather. What do you make of the culture that celebrated an absolutely horrific event like that nightclub shooting?
I remember both of those events, being here in New York. And I have to say, going back and revisiting CCNY and the nightclub, I was shocked that what I didn't know. I was shocked about, how many people died in the stampede, and the carelessness of as a young person. He was very young. I don't think he intended to do it, as one of our interviewees says, but it was such a horrific event. And as you said, so many people's lives were changed. And then he continues to grow and become even more famous. And nightclub shooting gets off, continues to build his empire. In some ways, I think it says something about, our country and our society, mm-hmm. and how we, allow people who have, maybe have been involved in really bad things, and may have, may have been involved in really bad things, even done bad things, to continue to rise to power. I think it says a lot about the country we're living in.
And also that the more money you have, that it's okay.
Yes,
it's okay to go ahead and do those things. It's almost like cancels it out if you have a lot of wealth.
And Kate, I think you might also be remembering a point in the film in which a woman, Natanya, who alleges that Diddy shot her at the nightclub, where it's shared and revealed to the audience that at the time when she was public with her allegation, that local radio was mocking her. And it was, that's a very affecting moment. And I hear you asking, Kate, about what is it in the culture that allowed for that to transpire. I don't have an easy answer.
Mm-hmm. Well, then I kept thinking, 4 episodes, this is a massive amount of information. Was there anything that you had to cut out that if there were extra episodes that you would have included?
Yes.
There's always.
Yeah.
We had many conversations about episodes and understanding that this is a story that's truly epic in scope and spans decades. If nothing else, Sean Diddy Combs has led his is an American story, right? It's and one that has been laced and threaded through many decades and many, many, many lives. You see, even in our project, our film, we've interviewed more than 30 people. This is a handful of the lives that he has impacted and touched, for good and for bad.
And also, it's still unraveling. It's like there's still updates. What is that like for you as a filmmaker when there are updates constantly? Are you thinking, oh, if they'd only gave us like 2 more months, we could have included that?
Yeah. I would, that's what I was going to say, because the events were unraveling and ongoing, we had to make choices, that affected the choices of what we could include because we knew we needed to include something else. And it's always difficult. And it's much more difficult when a case is unfolding, when a story is unfolding. But, because of the brilliance of our team, to be quick and agile and nimble, I think we made the choices we needed to make.
There could be more. We have 4 episodes of The Fall of Diddy, but there could be more.
There has to be more because this story is so big. And I was very impressed and encouraged and inspired by the people that came forward because I can only imagine how painful that was for them. And also for your bravery as filmmakers because, you put yourselves out there, you're a female team and I am in awe of the work that you do. I really think you guys do great work. And it's so clear to me that you put so much effort in making sure that all of the people that you interview feel like they're in a safe space. You can see that in the way that you make films. What do you make of his empire now? Do you have any inkling, any insight on how much he may be worth now, how much power he has right now, despite the fact he is in prison. He could be facing a long prison sentence, maybe will never be released. But as of right now, in January of 2025, how powerful do you think he still is and how much money does he still have?
There's a lot that we don't know about what will transpire in the days and weeks and months ahead. Some have speculated that Diddy might be pardoned. Of course, he could face prosecution in a very public fashion, and he could end up in jail. We've certainly seen that there are any number of figures over the course of the last few decades, and perhaps more acutely over the last 10 years, who have faced a form of public accountability for their actions, only to then return to positions of power. So I don't think we know where this story is heading.
Well, I was with a stylist a couple of weeks ago, and she told me that his team had reached out to them to pull looks for upcoming events. So he does think he's getting out. And I'm sure he thinks he's going to get pardoned too. So the delusion is really quite astounding. It's really unbelievable, really. Well, tell everybody where they can watch this incredible series and where they can find more information about your great company.
Well, we are premiering on Monday on ID and Max, Monday and Tuesday. So tune in. It'll be on broadcast on ID and streaming on Max.
And the company that we all work with and that I founded a few years ago is called Maxine Productions. We have a website. You can find us on Instagram, maxine.productions. And I feel so lucky to be doing this work with this particular group of people and for our incredible partners at ID. And grateful to you, Kate, for supporting the work.
Are you, by any chance, working on another project at the same exact time?
We have to keep the lights on. Lucky to do it this way, but yes, yes.
There will be plenty more to discuss.
There will be more.
Okay, good. Well, make sure you send me all the stuff. That is very important. Again, very, very well done. I hope you guys get a lot of awards.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my fantastic guests and remind you to click subscribe. Please make sure that you hit the follow button wherever you may listen to this podcast, and make sure that you leave a 5-star review. You just need to scroll down as you go and you will see the stars pop up. If you could leave a 5-star review, you can get my what to watch list by going to katecasey.substack.com. You can get extra episodes by going to Patreon, patreon.com/KateCasey. And also check out my social media. You can follow me on Instagram at KateCaseyCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, and Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at Kate Casey. Check back for an all-new episode tomorrow. I've got another fantastic episode for you, and this one is about O.J. Simpson.
80% of the work week is spent communicating, so it's important your team does it well. Enter Grammarly. Grammarly's AI helps teams communicate clearly the first time. It shows you how to make words resonate with your audience, helps with brainstorming, and lets you instantly create and revise drafts in just one click. Join the over 70,000 teams and 30 million people who use Grammarly to move work forward. Go to Grammarly.com/enterprise to learn more. Grammarly, enterprise-ready AI.